Hi, everybody. This is Barbara Mayerson from joyandsuccess.com. And I have with me today Teri Bach, and she is an expert money person. Does a lot of tapping and a lot of interesting things. So, welcome, Teri, for being here with me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, for having me.
Um, well, before we get into, and we're going to do a little tapping today, and before we get into the meat of the whole thing, I want to just know exactly what you do and how you got started, why you got started doing what you're doing.
Well, I was a psychotherapist for about 27, 28 years in California. Moved back here to take care of my mom in Minnesota. And I didn't want to have to get licensed again as a therapist. So I thought, I want to do some coaching. And I needed to do something deeper because I like to work with people. And I had worked a lot with limiting beliefs and all of that as a therapist. So I found a program that I loved called Tapping into Wealth. Margaret Lynch is my mentor there. So I got certified doing that. And so it's really looking at the 5 different types of money and how they affect us and how we, what we've learned from our parents at a very young age gets really programmed into us in the 5 different types of money. And they affect how we do our money for the rest of our lives until we change it.
Other people out there, I took her course, which is wonderful. But I wanted, before we really get into the 5 types of money, if you don't remember or can't really understand what happened when you were young with your parents, how can you figure it out, or what can you still help yourself get free from money issues?
Well, if I'm working with somebody or even in myself, I will go into a visualization because that gets you past your conscious mind and into your subconscious mind where all the good stuff is that we want to find and clear. So, so visualizing, sometimes journaling will help you. We don't consciously remember because this is stuff that happened by the time we were 6 years old. So most of us don't remember that time period, but our subconscious mind has recorded all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. When I take people back to when they were 6 years old, or sometimes I go earlier, they have a sense of what was going on with their parents. And to them, it's their reality. Whether that actually happened or not doesn't matter. It's what they have recorded in their subconscious mind that matters.
Very interesting. So the 5 types of money, most people have no clue. And they have a few ideas, but why don't you explain what the 5 ones are, and give us a little depth of what they are? We don't have a lot of time, obviously, to go into a lot of.
Right. Yeah. Before I do that, I'd like to talk just briefly about the mind-body connection. We've all heard that term, mind-body connection. And really it's that physiological change that happens based on what you're thinking about. So your thoughts can trigger emotions and feelings and body sensations. And so that's the mind-body connection. Well, it turns out there's a mind-body-money connection as well. So so every time you think about a specific type of money, different emotions, body sensations, beliefs, thoughts, they're just going to come up if you're, tuned into it. So the 5 kinds of money, first of all, are savings, debt, income goals, and toxic money. And as I said, each of them are going to trigger emotions, body sensations, and thoughts. And they're often different from each other. So the reason we use 5 different kinds of money is that when we talk generally about money or wealth, we have this generalized reaction to it. So you might say, oh yeah, I have an issue with money. Well, how do you know what to change?
Mm.
It's talking about money in general or wealth. Um, so when we focus very specifically on each of the 5 kinds of money, there's a lot more intense reaction from our emotions or our body sensations and our thoughts. And when we're talking about each kind of money, we're really looking at those emotions and those thoughts or beliefs. And sometimes there's even a related trauma or an event from the past that affected and is connected to that kind of money. That makes sense?
Yeah, it does. I was just thinking that you might have a different reaction. Some people might be fine about savings, but not fine about
Yes.
income, or
Yeah.
fine about income, but might have debt. And so they react to it differently. And toxic money, I'm sure most people don't even know what that is, but
Right.
um, reacting differently to everything. And so, yeah, that absolutely makes a lot of sense. And, the,
Right. And
yeah.
there's different programming in each one. Different things get connected, like savings. Savings is about, gets connected with any loss. Sorry, my throat is a little, is connected to loss and disappointment.
Mm,
It's
mhm,
also about safety and security. So if
mm,
you have any issues around loss, like you've had a lot of loss in your life, it often means that it's going to be hard for you to save
mm,
or keep money in savings,
mhm,
because savings is really a metaphor for safety and security,
So if they're not
right?
feeling safe and secure, they're not going to be saving money.
Right. And if you feel like, say, a bill comes up or an emergency comes up and you don't have that money in your checking account, if you have a savings account, you can go into that. But if you don't really have much of a safety net. And
Hmm.
some people don't feel safe. But the opposite is also true. When people don't feel safe, they don't save.
That's the automatic response, that they don't feel safe. So the savings, they don't understand that maybe they need to save, or they can't save because they're not feeling safe.
I think our body is wired to not feel safe. And so to not feel safe means to not have savings.
Now, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I know when went through it with you in the challenge, I certainly learned a lot. But so the next one is debt. Like, talk about, I know, because a lot of people have debt these days.
Yes, yes. So debt is a betrayal or a lack of forgiveness. And it could be a lack of forgiveness um, with somebody else, but it's also a lack of forgiveness in yourself.
Mm.
So you've seen people who get in debt, get out of debt, get in debt, get out of debt. It's just cyclical. And which shows that there's a programming there that keeps them coming back to debt, because it's oddly enough, we have these things because they feel normal to us. So if our parents had debt, or if our parents had um, a lot of loss, or not a feeling of not being secure, we take that on at a young age without knowing it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Our programming is what we learn from our parents at a very young age, and then we manifest our money to match that.
Interesting. So it's not really about, it's never about the money. It's about all these other
Really
things.
about the money, yeah.
Yeah. And then so income would be the next.
Yeah, one last thing about debt. The number one emotion that people have around debt is shame.
Really. Why is that?
Well, because, I mean, how do you feel, hypothetically, if you have debt? Do you feel shame? I mean, it's
Yeah,
just what,
getting into it. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
but the opposite is also true, because when I'm working with somebody and they have a lot of shame that will come up in the money map, um, I always address the shame first, because I know that that's affecting having debt.
Mm-hmm. 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 No, that makes a lot of sense.
So having debt brings up shame, but having shame also puts you in
Creates
the
that.
programming of having debt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes a lot. It's interesting because I don't think anyone really thinks about that your emotions are creating what's going on with you.
Exactly. Because we're manifesting what our programming, which is the emotions, the beliefs, and any past events
Mm-hmm.
programmed into us, and then we manifest our money to fit that.
To match it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about income?
Income is wired into our family's paradigm. So it's usually around our parents' income. So if, maybe your dad asked for a raise and then got fired,
Mm,
or there was, somebody lost their job, or their income was reduced somehow, or maybe there was a death of a parent, which also means a loss of some income.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So family has some programming around income and loss of income, then that's going to make it very hard for you to go. There's so much I could talk about with this, but I know we have limited time. So, we have a lot of us have this vow of loyalty where we believe, again, subconsciously, that we can't earn more than our parents.
Mm-hmm. So they make sure they don't.
Exactly.
That's very interesting because yeah, I think we don't realize how much our family is affecting us, and until we're out there pounding the pavements, and we either do
Exactly.
it or we don't. Well, that's really interesting. And then the next one I know is income goals, which is sort of
Yes, income goals is different from the other ones. It's set up, it's a different type of belief system. So what happens is sometimes we've had a big goal in the past, and it doesn't even have to be a big goal, but we've had a goal in the past, and we've really wanted this thing, whatever that goal is, and we've worked really hard for it, and it didn't happen. We didn't meet that goal. What happens then is we lose that belief or that trust in our ability to meet a goal.
hmm,
And so we start not trusting ourselves. We don't trust the universe. We don't trust God. We don't trust anything about this goal. And so what happens is we learn to stifle goals. It's like, well, that one didn't work, so why would I ever set another goal and just set myself up for disappointment?
mm-hmm.
Again, remember, this is all subconscious. We're not making this decision consciously. And I do a whole, at least 1 to 4 sessions with people on goal traumas, because most of us have had multiple goal traumas throughout our lives. So we wonder why we're not earning more money or meeting our income goals. Yeah, and some of the people I've worked with have goals that, like a goal trauma from grade school.
Wow, wow.
And it can start very young.
If you decide to set a goal, is it usually at the beginning to set an easy one? If you're making $50,000, don't try to go to 1 million all at once.
Yeah, well, what happens when you do 1 million is you're so disconnected from that number because you can't even resonate with it. So, but one of the things that I do is I have them set a smaller goal. Like if you're making 2,000, have them maybe 5,000 a month.
Mm-hmm,
See
mm-hmm,
what comes up.
Mhm.
And I do a whole visualization with this, see what comes up, and that's stuff we work on.
Mhm.
We have them do what I call an outrageous goal, where maybe they bump it up to 10,000 or 20,000. Those are still reasonable amounts,
Mhm.
and really see what comes up for them. And those are the things then that we do some tapping on.
So almost not even trying to get the goal so much as really seeing what is coming up so you can clear it. Interesting. Very
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah, we want to clear all the stuff. All the work that I do is about kind of setting a fire under the stuff to really let you see what's holding you back.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
we can do the tapping and clear.
Mhm. That's really interesting. And now the last one, toxic, which I'm sure a lot of people don't have any idea what toxic money is.
Right. And not everybody has it either, but toxic money is money that has a battle around it somehow. So it's a situation where you're either owed money, or you've received money that comes with a battle around it, with a fight. So it could be like a court battle where you're supposed to get this money, but it's tied up in court. And so you have to wait.
Mm.
And a chance you may not even get it. Or let's say you are divorced and you're supposed to be receiving spousal support or child support, and it's coming, so you're receiving it, but there's such a battle about it. Maybe you have to fight to get it, or you have to hear your ex-spouse saying how upset they are about having to give you this money. So there's some kind of a battle around it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Or the last example I have is, maybe somebody's paying for your lifestyle. So let's say you're an adult and your parents are giving you money because you're not making ends meet every month.
Mhm.
So basically helping you live. And you need that money, but you don't want to be taking it because you feel dependent and you feel disempowered.
Mhm. Mhm.
Toxic money is a bit different too, because the issue is really about the relationship with somebody or the court system or whatever. It's not about the money per se, it's about the relationship. So the work you do is with that relationship. The tapping you do is about the feelings about that relationship.
Mhm.
But it really affects your money.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
about the money, but it affects your money.
Very interesting. So I'd like to do, we're getting a little short on time and I want to
Oh,
do some tapping. um,
yes.
and on whatever you feel is right, either one of the money topics or something else, or obviously about money, but you.
I just pulled out a few statements from the longer tapping script that I do with the money map. But if we had actually gone through the exercises, emotions would be coming up. You'd be feeling some emotions. You'd have thoughts going on in your mind. But because we didn't do that, you're probably not sitting with a lot of emotion. I would also have you rate the emotions on a scale of 0 to 10 as to how intense they're feeling right now. So you always want to start with that and end with that so you can feel the shift from tapping, because tapping can be pretty subtle.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Barbara, if you would be my echo, as they say, so repeat after me after I do the tapping, and we'll just do a real short, maybe I'll just do one round since we're instead of a round.
Okay, one or two, that would be fine.
Okay, so I'm just going to do the tapping things that points that I use. It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming.
Every part of my money,
Every part of my money,
all the shame.
all the shame.
It's so heavy throughout my body.
It's so heavy throughout my body.
I'm a failure with money.
I'm a failure with money.
And I'm just going to honor that heavy feeling.
I'm just going to honor that heavy feeling.
And I'm going to skip under the arm. I honor everything.
I honor everything.
I'm disappointed in myself.
I'm disappointed in myself.
I should be doing better.
I should be doing better.
I should be able to figure this out.
I should be able to figure this out.
I can never get ahead.
I can never get ahead.
I judge myself,
I judge myself,
but I honor everything I'm feeling.
but I honor everything I'm feeling.
Maybe it's time to let go of some of the shame.
Maybe it's time to let go of some of the shame.
I'm open to healing for my highest good.
I'm open to healing for my highest good.
And take a deep breath.
That was great. That was really good.
Good.
Yeah, even a small amount, just like getting a taste of what it's like and what can heal.
Right.
A lot of people don't even deal with their money thing, and but this is a great way, a very easy, soft way of getting them into starting to look at it and deal with some of their money things, and
right.
Such a big thing. And I know you've got a gift for us and about the money map. Could you explain a little bit about what that's going to be like?
Yes, I did a partial money map because the full one takes 90 minutes and nobody has 90 minutes to just listen. So I did the first 3 types of money, savings, debt, and income. And so it's an audio where I actually walk you through the exercises that I use with clients. And so you're really drudging up the emotions and the body sensations and any thoughts. And we're going to look at any traumas or past events that you might have about those 3 types of money. There's also a handout, the money map, which you can download and just take notes on as you're going through the audio. And then I have a much longer tapping script that I also include in that. So you can really get a feel and really shift some of the emotions that come up for you.
Well, that's great. It's, like I had mentioned earlier that I took her course and it was great. And look into when the free gift that she gives us, and even more than that. And I know that all of you guys are going to be loving her stuff and really examining your financial situation. And even if it's great, it could still get even better. So thank you so much, Teri, for being here. And
thank you for having me.
thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we'll see you next time.